Do I qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy in the state of Oklahoma? I'm Edward Kelley, bankruptcy attorney at Wirth Law, where we make law easy, makelaweasy.com, and I'm going to answer that question, how you can tell if you qualify for a 7. Well, there's two main factors, your income and your assets. One is a rather hard line whether you qualify or not, that's your income. And then your decision of whether you want to do a 7 will have to do with your assets. So, income. So the cutoff for a 7, meaning if you make more than this amount, you are not supposed to be able to do a 7, is based on what are called IRS standards, which change often quarterly. And the IRS determines this is basically the poverty line for various household sizes. So I have a little chart that I go to that's updated periodically. And if your case is being filed in the state of Oklahoma, for example, right now, with a household of 1, generally your cutoff is going to be in the mid to high 40s. It's a little variable. Now, if you're just a bit over that amount, expenses can bring you down. So in Chapter 7, you use dollar for dollar mortgage and car figures. So if you got a high mortgage payment or a high car payment or both, even if you're a little bit over, you might be able to be pulled down. So again, for one person, your cutoff's going to be in the 40s. Add about $10,000 on top of that for each additional person, 2 50s, 3 60s, etc. So if you get there on the income, then the question is, do I want to do this? And that's really a question of what assets you have. So you're exempt, meaning you get to keep your home. In Oklahoma, we have a great exemption. If you're on an acre or less in the city, pretty much unlimited. If you're outside the city, you can have up to 160 acres. If you have more than an acre in the city, you want to be careful. Be sure and consult your attorney on that one. Vehicles, $7,500 in equity. So if you own it outright, it shouldn't be worth more than $7,500. Of course, that's a pretty fluid number. Hard to pin that down. So if you're close, you're probably all right. Equity meaning, say you got a $17,500 car. It's worth $17,500, but you owe $10,000. Take that $17,500 minus the $10,000 you owe. You have $7,500 in equity, the value. So you're okay. Now, if it's a $27,500 value car and you only owe $10,000, well, then you have $17,500 equity, and you're gonna have a problem. The trustee can convert that car and compensate you $7,500 or try to make a deal with you to keep it. But then you're gonna have some issues. And now your household belongings, generally that kind of stuff you don't need to worry about. That's exempt as personal belongings. But we get into tractors, four-wheelers, jet skis, boats. Again, if anything has value, that can be taken. That's not going to be exempt in Chapter 7. So if you got a boat that's paid off and jet skis, if you have any land that you don't live on that's not your homestead, because that home being exempt assumes that you live there, then those things can be taken. So if you hit the income requirements, meaning you're below that cutoff for the size of your family, and if, for example, you only have a car and a home, or maybe not even those, and you're under the exemption caps and you don't stand to lose anything, no brainer, do a 7. If you're gonna have to give up some assets, that's when you wanna start thinking about it, and maybe, start thinking more strategically long term. We'll talk about that in a future video. So again, I'm Edward Kelley, bankruptcy attorney for Wirth Law. You can always reach out to me at Make Law Easy, and everyone have a good afternoon. I'll be back soon.